Hi, it's Etharal here for EGN, and today we are back with our Mount and Blade Warband Warsword Conquest mod, or the Warhammer mod, where we have been playing as Samuel Morrstein of the Morrstein Vampires, our own nation that we are attempting to create and supplant Sylvania and the vampire counts as the undead rulers of the world. That's a very, very long way off though. It's taken me quite a while to get to the point where I can actually put up this Let's Play. We've moved on a fair few weeks. There's been quite a bit happening, to say the least, where we have managed to expand. We've gotten another castle where the Kislev, actually at war with the vampire counts, managed to take one of their castles, as they always do, leave it woefully undefended, and so we took the opportunity and besieged it, and we have now claimed it. So we now have 3 castles, 2 of which are right next to each other, so we're actually able to support each other for once, rather than our original 2 castles who, well, let's just say they're pretty isolated if there was to be any issues, which that is a good thing. That certainly happened, and brilliant one that one happened. But there was a slight issue with this, that I did overextend myself a lot further than I really should have, and because of that, the orcs who we are at war with, who we used to take our second castle, have decided that they wanted to try and reclaim our original class that we claimed, which they did manage to do. We'll admit they did do that, and then we turned around basically and had to retake it from them. This all went very, very badly. There was, let's just say, there was 600 of their guys against our defending force of about 100. Even with the advantage of being the defenders, we couldn't hold on to that, and we did actually lose the castle. Since we've managed to reclaim it though, and we've managed to put a small force in there, although nowhere near enough or experienced enough to be of any real use should there to be another attack, but that has not been the end of the world, and we're going to keep working at it, and we're basically back to the drawing board with the forces that we have with ourselves. So I've managed to get to the point where we have near enough a decent sized army again, but they are all still very, very inexperienced, and there's a lot of work that needs doing to them to get them to a point where they'll actually be useful. As you can see there, that was a forest goblin fight that we were just doing there as I was getting everything updated, and that actually, I mean, what, 24 guys killed? That should not have really happened. So here you can see what the force does look like with over 100 guys, but a lot of zombies. I had to pick up some mercenaries as well just to try and round out the numbers a little bit. But we are steadily moving up. These guys are finally starting to look like a force that can actually be useful to us. That's something that unfortunately hasn't been the case for a very long time, and really have been struggling, having to pick my fights very, very carefully, making sure that I'm attacking what I know I can kill, rather than just going around and attacking anything that I see, which is what we have been doing in recent ones. We have also improved our right to rule though. We are now at peace with the Empire, which is a good thing. They are somebody who, being near to us, that means that's one less concern. We're now currently only fighting on 3 fronts rather than 4, which is not an ideal situation to be in. Here you can see the dwarves have been really, really targeting us quite a lot lately, and they have been hitting us pretty heavily. They did actually even unite with the orcs at one point, supporting them to try and attack us. That was an interesting time to be through, to say the least there, really. Here though, I'm just setting some stuff up that I've not really done before, having gotten a Dark Elf guy to actually work with me, who is a named proper sort of character, so he does have send out on right to roll missions and things like that, but he does also have tactics, which is allowing us to be able to decide a little bit more of what we're doing, and see just setting it up so that our guys are, from the second we say go, going to be getting into their ranks and formation. The formation that I do like of the infantry in front forming a rank, so a few men deep. The reason being why I like that one is so that way they can actually withstand a cavalry charge. Not so much of a problem really with the dwarves, who have no cavalry, but against other ones such as the Kislev, the orcs as well, who do have sort of tusk riders, I believe, so like wild boar riders sort of thing, and things like that. They tend to smash through if we have quite thin lines, whereas the dwarves here, not so much of a concern, but we're still going to set it up. This is going to be our general way of dealing with them, and then we'll see how everything goes here. We are outnumbering these guys over 2 to 1, although we are very inexperienced, and here you can see they are very experienced there. They have, you know, quite a lot of slayers and big heavy hulking guys, so we're going to probably see here quite a fair bit of damage being done to our men, but regardless, we should hopefully still come out on top, being that we do have such a sizable force. There you can see the amount of reds going into that. There's a lot of zombies falling here, so it's going to be quite a close one if nothing else though, and I think we're going to really feel some pain from this fight. But it is also going to be, if we can win it, it is going to be something that is really going to help slingshot our guys back up to experience of being a respected force, which is what we need to be able to look at expanding further. One of our aims we are also going to be looking at doing in the near future is trying to get Marius, one of our named characters, up to the point where he will actually be able to lead his own force. He's not quite there yet, as once he does get up to the point where he is leading his own force, you can't actually give him any more equipment, you can't level him up anymore. So I want to try and get him to a point where I know he's going to be a decent fighter by himself, and then send him off by himself, rather than doing it too early and ending up regretting it in the long run. I think it's better to just wait and see how things go and then take it from there more than anything. So here we're just going to run back, see how our forces in this one are actually doing. We are starting to take quite a fair bit of damage. We've charged, as we always do, into the archers to try and minimise their ranged attacks, and they have done more than a fair bit of damage to us. These guys though are steadily whittling us down. As you can see in the bottom right, we are managing to kill some of their guys through sheer numbers and just through hitting them repeatedly from probably only a little bit of damage at a time, although they are still steadily, well, not steadily, they are taking us down. Here you can see we're only down to our archer line now. We've lost all of our infantry when we do fall. However, our guys do manage to come through and win the day. We lost a lot of guys. We lost more than they did. So I think it's safe to say that this is definitely a Pyrrhic victory. So victory which ended up costing us more than we actually gained. But we've managed to get those dwarves chasing us off our backs completely. And also, as well, we've managed to get our guys up to a decent level of experience, or at least the ones that survived. Of the 100+ guys that we did start out with, I mean, we've had a battle where we've lost sort of 30s, 40s and things like that, so we are down to half of what we really should have, and there we go. Marius less than happy about all of that. We'll just take time to mention as well, if you do enjoy the series, please do be sure to subscribe. I put out videos pretty much every single week, and would love to be able to let you know when those are actually coming out for you to be able to see them. So getting back here, we're just going to sort of have a quick run around, try and hopefully replenish our numbers as much as we're able to, although given that we are at half of what we could potentially have, we're probably not going to be able to get into a situation where we can actually recruit enough to get a full fighting force. Well, I mean, we can get a fighting force, but not as large as we would like to be able to take on lords and things like that, and certainly not experienced enough to be able to do that, as we are going to see a large chunk of these being zombies, pretty much they fall, and maybe a few of them get to the point where they are strong enough to be able to moving on to more experienced units. Yet again, there as well, you can see that our villagers still to this day not producing anything for us. They keep being raided so often and looted that we cannot actually get them to the point where they are really able to actually be benefiting the Morrstein Vampires, which is more than a little bit of a shame. Here, Samuel has decided as well, he's had to run away back to Bergenholt, the new castle that we have. Those dwarf armies that were chasing us, we did not like the look of them. That would not have gone in any way, shape or form in our way. So we got the hell out of there as quickly as we could, and have managed to find a dwarven force that is maybe a little bit more of our speed with the dwarven foragers. So our forces, as I mentioned, they are very much back to where they were, with only being able to sort of take on the smaller forces or forest goblins and things like that that are less experienced and less skilled. Although we are still, we're in a reasonable state. We could be a lot worse, we could be a lot better. Kind of in that annoying middle ground at the minute, really, but that is something that will change. It's just going to take a lot of work to get these guys back up to a respectable force, and then as well as getting these up to a respectable force, our guys in the actual castles themselves, we really do need to look at getting them back up to a point where they are a respectable defensive force as well. I think I'm going to aim for a roundabout, if I can, the ideal situation would be 10 Grim Reapers, 50 sharp shooters, and 50 right champions. or white champions. Never quite sure how to pronounce that one there, if I'm honest. But though that's going to be a long shot there. We've got one of our castles that are at that stage. The other one has just a load of ghouls in it, basically, and some sharpshooters. Sharpshooters, we do have plenty of those, admittedly. They are not really known for their ranged troops, the vampire counts, so thankfully they are something that we're managing to get more than an abundance of. But it's mainly the right champions and the Grim Reapers that are the ones that are taking us a while, and it's going to take quite a fair bit of work to get it to the point where we could, you know, look at expanding further and safely be able to assume that our cities are going to be okay. Nice, that is the ultimate plan. Oh, well, actually, no, that's not the ultimate plan. The ultimate plan is to try and rule as much of the old world as possible. That is the short-term goal, just to get the actual castles that we have at the minute to a stage where they are able to support themselves safely and easily. That, again, going to take a very long time to get there. So here you can see I'm just trying to put this in a little bit to see the progress of my forces as they're going. They are certainly starting to spread out as we're getting more and more of some people that are actually advancing, and just generally spreading out further and further between the different options that the vampire counts do have. We're still not using any cavalry, not for any particular reason. I'm not a massive fan of cavalry. They're quite a nice initial hit, but I tend to find when I have used them in the past, unless you use an all cavalry force, they fall down very, very easily when they basically they all run in and they don't have the infantry support behind them because they've gotten into combat too quickly, and then they're massively outnumbered and basically just fall apart. I could probably try using them in a slightly different way and probably in a little bit of a better way, but for the minute that's unfortunately not going to be something that we're really going to be doing anytime soon. I think we're mainly going to focus on getting these guys up to a respectable infantry force, and then we might look at some cavalry at a later date. Now here, just putting this as well, you can see the weekly budget and earnings that we get. We are bringing in a fair bit of money. We're bringing in about 4,000 or so every single week on top of paying for all of our forces. So there was a concern that we did have, if you remember in the last few episodes, of the money starting to run out. There's starting to be quite a fair few problems with that, as we were only getting around about 1,000 or so gold every single week on top. So we were basically just managing to pay for our forces, and that is something that would have likely not continued. You know, that wouldn't have gone a lot, that wouldn't have gone well. That would have likely become a deficit, so we'd have been starting losing money if we'd have kept up with the forces that we used to have and then continued to get a third castle. So for the minute though, we are back to making a profit, which is a good thing. Not going to use any of this money though to actually look at improving our guys' equipment or anything like that. I think I'm at a good stage in terms of the equipment, pretty much as good as I'm really going to get, barring maybe the odd point here and there. And so instead we're going to save it up to be able to get some extra actual merchant enterprises in some various cities. I may look at moving into the actual empire and getting some merchant stuff with them, since it is a case that I can now actually move into their cities without there being a problem, as they are well, not allies, but we do have a peace treaty with them at least. So fingers crossed that will go well, although how well it will go we shall, you know, have to wait and see there. You know, just helping out with our foragers though. Again, this force not really something of a threat to us. There was only 7 of these dwarves. This is something that, you know, we're just using this as a way to basically defend our foragers more than anything, and obviously if any of our guys can get any actual experience from it and be able to level up, then you know what, even better there. First fight there, you can see that we've had all episode which we've actually not had any casualties, and the good thing here, they do seem to have actually attacked some people and taken some fair few people prisoner. So that is a good thing. We're going to use that to be able to boost our numbers even further there. So here we do have a couple of people that we can improve, nothing too major or anything like that, but still, you know, the extra improvements to the forces, even if it was only 3 people, is not a bad thing, and any extra guys is always welcome. So I'm going to leave it there for today. So thank you very much for watching. Do be sure to subscribe if you do enjoy the videos here at EGN, and I shall see you next time with a new video.